So, what's up, Sasha? Are we going to the base today? Yes, of course, Sasha answered. I've already told Andrei, Sergei, and Dima, and you can tell girls. Okay, at 9 o'clock? Yes. Our group of friends, consisting of 5 boys and 3 girls, Natasha, Yana, and Svetlana, like to spend a lot of time at our base. That's how we called our favorite place for rest on the edge of the street where we lived. About 500 meters from the last house on the street was a large field sown with corn, with a small abandoned garden next to it. So, as I said, we used to gather there in the evenings, made a fire, fried sausages or baked potatoes, told various scary and funny stories around the fire, played with the ball, or sang songs to the guitar that Andrei brought with him. He was the only one among us who was some kind of musician. My name is Roman, by the way. So after we have planned our next trip to the base and informed all our friends, we gathered the necessary things and got on our bikes and rushed to our secret place. Why secret? Because we didn't tell anyone about it. Only those who were part of our company knew. When we got to our destination, we put on our baggage and bikes on the ground and started preparing for outdoor activities. Guys were looking for firewood in the garden, and girls were in charge of setting up a field, kitchen, and a place to eat. So after setting fire and preparing meat and potatoes for frying, boys and I decided to play football, and girls went to the garden to pick delicious apples from an old apple tree. The makeshift soccer field was located about 3 meters from the beginning of the cornfield. By the way, it belonged to one of the local farmers, and it was sown with very tall corn, 2 meters high. Children were not allowed to play here, because some travelers who sometimes pass through the road near this field say they often hear some growls and other strange sounds coming from the plantation. Weather wolves sometimes like to wander here from the forest, which is located 5 kilometers from the village, or some other animals no one knows. In any case, we, 18 years old boys and girls, did not care. We didn't believe in these childhood horror stories. Although, I must admit, sometimes I heard an incomprehensible rustle from the corn when we were resting here. But I didn't tell anyone and didn't attach much importance to it. Maybe some stray dog came inside the cornfield and ran around, I thought. So after playing with the ball for about 15 minutes and waiting for the firewood to burn well, we headed to the fire to grill a barbecue. Girls were already waiting for us there, having already finished their sandwiches, and while eating them, they were laughing at some funny story that Yana was telling everyone. Sasha and I went to grill barbecue, and the rest of guys joined the girls' lively conversation. Everyone was having a lot of fun. Laughter and the smell of roasted meat in the air made a special atmosphere for the evening. "Did you order barbecue?" I shouted in a strange accent to my friends, approaching them with skewers, and began to put the meat on the plate. Girls giggled loudly in response, and guys immediately began to take it off the plate. It's so delicious. You and Sasha know how to make barbecue," said Sergei, chewing the meat. Having eaten enough and drunk some wine, we had even more fun. Andrei took out his guitar and we started singing our favorite hits together. "Friends, I'm going to hit the head," said Dima, who was already getting tipsy and wandered off toward the cornfield to do his important work. Probably not even a minute had passed after Dima left when we heard something large rushing through the cornfield, almost at the edge of the field, in the direction our friend went. Then we heard Dima's frightened scream mixed with a menacing growl. Everything happened so fast that we didn't realize what was happening at first. Girls started screaming in hysterics, and guys and I jumped up and ran to help Dima. I grabbed a burning stick from the fire to defend from creature that was attacking our friend. When we ran to the place where Dima's scream was coming from, we saw a huge creature knocking him down and trying to drag him into the plantation of corn. It looked like some kind of scary werewolf from a horror movie. It had a huge elongated face with long fangs protruding from its mouth and yellow eyes that glowed in the dark. It also had long furry limbs with curved look-sharp claws which it used to grab Dima's leg and pull him toward it. I could see blood running down his leg from the wound that was being torn open by the claws of this terrible creature. I tried to hit it with a stick, but it knocked it out of my hands with its other paw, making a deep cut on my arm. I fell to the ground, writhing in pain. Guys tried to pull Dima away from the monster, but its grip was too tight. It grabbed him with two limbs and pulled him inside the cornfield with lightning speed. The jerk was so powerful that guys holding Dima's hands fell off their feet, and all we heard was the scream of our friend, who was quickly disappearing into the cornfield. I was still lying on the ground, and girls ran up to us and started crying. Boys rushed after the creature, but it was all in vain. It was running so fast that it was impossible to catch up with it, even though it was dragging our friend with it as it ran away. What the hell was that thing? What are we going to do? Dima, it took him away! Andrei shouted in hysterics. Sergei and Sasha sat down on the ground and started crying. Girls were crying too. Everyone was shocked by what had happened in the last 5 minutes. Natasha came to me and started bandaging my wound, taking a piece of fabric from my t-shirt. After sitting there for about 2 minutes, Sergei called to police and told them what had happened. Even though it sounded like a story of a madman, but the police came and started combing the area. Our parents and other people from our street, whom we had also called, came to the field and joined the search. But it was all in vain. It was already dark outside, which made the search much more difficult. So we continued the search the next day. They managed to find a trail of crumpled corn that led to the opposite edge of the field, and then a path that led to the forest. Probably the creature had dragged Dima there, so the search team went to the forest. Once they got there, it didn't take a long time to find him. At the edge of the forest, they found Dima's remains, with his mangled internal organs and chewed-off head scattered everywhere. The creature probably couldn't eat him all and left some part for later. The forest was combed up and down, but the unknown creature disappeared. As the days passed, the case stalled, and the tragedy was gradually forgotten. Only we who saw it live could not forget. That was our last trip to the base. No one believed that it was a monster. Police put forward the version that it was some kind of a crazy maniacal killer, and we were scared and just imagined some monster. But I know what really happened. It was some kind of otherworldly evil and must have been waiting for us in that field for a long time, and picked the right moment to attack. Several years have passed since then. We have grown up. Some of us moved to the city. Some of us stayed here. I live in the city. Our village is not far from it, so I often come here on weekends. Sometimes, when I pass by another field of corn on my way to my house, I sometimes hear the same rustling in it as I did then. It worries me a lot. Is the creature back again? Is it hunting me?